Hello, I'm Diana Sunshine, and I'm excited to welcome everybody to today's webinar. I'm on the Coursera team working with ASU, and we are excited to talk today about the ASU Master of Computer Science program. First, let's get accustomed to the Zoom interface. And so if you're here, why don't you scroll on the bottom and you can see that there's a chat button. And if you click on that chat button, why don't you enter in where you're coming from today? It'd be nice. Typically, we see people coming from all around the world. So let's see what people are coming in from. And so right now, we have San Diego, New Mexico, Monterrey, Mexico, Olympia. Oh, this is great. France, wonderful. Russia. So you can see that it's our programs are truly global, and this is really exciting. So I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. There may be people logging on at 2 a.m. Who knows? So now that you will see where the chat is, the second thing I'd like to do is get everybody accustomed to how the polls work. So I'm going to launch a quick poll right now, and it just says, how did you hear about our program? And if you want to, you can just click on which one that works for you, and we can start seeing. So some people found out about it from the Coursera website, from ASU, internet search. This is, once again, this is great information. Thank you so much. And then lastly, at the bottom, when you're scrolling over, you'll see that there's a little Q&A part. That is where we would love to get your questions. So when you have questions come up, enter them into the Q&A. And so at the end of the webinar, after our panelists are done presenting, we will then go through all of the questions. So I'm going to end this poll, and it looks like the most popular way people had found out about this event was from the Coursera website. Pretty cool. So now I would like to turn the webinar over to Anita and Christina, our two experts from ASU.
Thank you, Diana. Hello everyone. My name is Christina Sebring. I am an academic advisor in the School of Computing, Informatics, and Decision Systems Engineering at ASU. So we're the school that has the computer science online program. So we're very excited to have you join us today.
Thanks, Christina. I'm Anita. I'm a senior director at ASU, and I oversee this program with the academic college.
And then also on chat today, you will see Nicole Plachecki. She is our she's our student services coordinator. So she does a lot behind the scenes. So she'll be able to answer some questions maybe that come through on chat, send out some helpful links, things like that. You may also see her name as you move through the admissions process, as she communicates very much with our prospective and students in the pipeline. And then you have met Diana from Coursera. So today we're going to give an overview of the MCS online program, talk about our brand new cybersecurity concentration. Also, we have some exciting updates about prerequisite courses, talk about our application process and deadlines, and then spend hopefully a bit of time answering your questions. And then on that, just a reminder, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen to submit your questions. It makes it a lot easier for us to be able to answer them at the end so they don't get lost in the chat. Okay, so moving on to the overview of the program. So this program is offered by ASU. It is a rigorous computing degree, covers very popular topics such as artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, blockchain, big data, and then it helps you develop computing skills through practical projects. On the screen, you'll see the courses that are currently being offered or in development for the online program. We have courses in three main areas: foundation, systems, applications, and then we have some elective categories. So there's quite a variety, I think, to choose from to find courses that suit your interests. And we found students are really enjoying their projects in their classes. Would you say that?
Yes, the projects are a very important component of the program. So let's take a deep dive into some of these courses and give you some examples of projects that you will work through when enrolled in this program. So the data processing at scale, that really talks about large-scale data sets with parallel and distributed algorithms. So it really teaches you the scalable access to data mechanisms. And we have some great projects. For example, we have a project on geospatial data through Apache Spark SQL. And that's a newer technology that was introduced in late 2016. And so our projects really help you use those technologies, because the idea is that you will learn those applications and be able to use that in your career. Another example is the data visualization course, and that's another very popular course. And it really helps you to sift through large, complex data sets for informing decisions. And so we explain effective data visualization through the projects in this course. And one of our other very popular courses is blockchain. Mm-hmm. And so one of the projects in the blockchain course is introducing you to a concept of a public blockchain and then building a private blockchain application on that. And blockchain has been really, really revolutionary. For example, you know, it contains a cryptographic hash of all the different blocks. And so it teaches you how to use blockchains with different applications in this very exciting emerging industry.
Very interesting. Thank you, Anita. So starting in fall 2019, we have our cybersecurity concentration available. So we've had the general MCS program online for a year. So starting in fall, you will be able to have a specialization in cybersecurity. So this concentration is really designed to focus in on cybersecurity, including, you know, computer network security, software security, data and information security, and we have a course in applied cryptography, and then there'll also be a focus on computer forensics. So students in this program still have to take a course from each of our areas, as on the previous screen, and then they'll have an option for 6 electives, which can be courses from any of the categories. And then they take 5 classes, so 15 credits, specific to the concentration. So there's 4 required classes: applied cryptography, information assurance and security, software security, and then advanced computer network security. And then they can choose one more of their interest from 3 other classes. So that is available starting fall 2018.
Exciting.
Yes. So the MCS online program, we have 3 starts each year. So the one coming up is fall, it starts August 22nd. And then we have a start in spring, which starts early January, and then in summer. So we just had a summer cohort start mid-May. The program is 10 courses or 30 credit hours. And then the culminating experience is a project portfolio. So that's as you move through the program, you're going to complete courses within your projects within your courses. And then at the end, you're going to choose 3 and submit a portfolio summarizing that work you did. So you really work on it as you move through the program. The total cost for the degree program is $15,000. So that breaks down to $1,500 per course. And then we do have financial aid available. So we have scholarships, grants, loans. That is subject to availability and determined on an individual basis. So we would recommend you contact financial aid for more information regarding those options. So getting into the admissions requirements. So how do you qualify for the program is a very popular question that we get. So our minimum GPA is 3.0, and that is based on the last 60 credit hours of your undergraduate degree. Programs are different. They have different credit hour equivalents. So it's also listed as your junior, senior, or it's the GPA of the last 2 years of your program. So it's basically the last half of your undergraduate degree is another way to state that. Now, we do have a lot of students who have attended schools from outside the U.S. Who do not use that 4.0 GPA scale. So if that's the case, don't worry about translating it. You don't have to convert it. Please just list it as the marks are listed on your original transcripts or mark sheets. And then it will be evaluated based on the scale used in the country where the education took place. So definitely don't worry about converting that. We also ask that you've completed 2 semesters of advanced math in Calculus 1 and 2, as well as have a background in discrete. That said, students who've done an undergraduate degree in STEM fields, so science, technology, engineering, and math, have likely met this math requirement, even if the class isn't labeled explicitly as Calculus 1 and 2. The background is likely there. And then official transcripts do need to be sent from all post-secondary institutions you've attended. So everything after high school, we do need those, including community colleges. So that information is sent directly to our graduate admissions office. And if you're having issues retrieving those, we do have the enrollment team can assist you with that. And so their email's on screen at mcsenrollment@asu.edu. They can help discuss alternative options. We also have some additional information listed in the FAQ section of our website, which we'll put that up in a couple slides so that you can see that. So additionally, we do ask for a personal statement or a resume. You can submit both while you're doing the application, but either one is fine. So we will accept a resume in place of a personal statement if that's easier. And then lastly, there is an application fee. It varies depending on if you're currently in the US or if you're international. So there is a variance in rate on that. And then one thing that we do not require letters of recommendation or the GRE. So you do not have to supply either of those. You can if you want to, but we do not require it for your application to move forward. Okay, and then we do have some prerequisite knowledge that you should have completed in order to be successful in our graduate program. So you do need to have knowledge of computer organization and assembly language programming, data structures and algorithms, operating systems, and then either principles of programming languages or introduction to theoretical computer science, which that last bullet point, often we can see, programming paradigms, compilers, we can see formal languages. Courses such as that often will fulfill that requirement. Now, if you don't meet these requirements, we have a new option available, which I'm gonna hand over to Anita to talk about, but we're gonna have some non-credit courses offered that will help them fulfill this requirement.
So we understand you might have an engineering background in chemical engineering, mechanical engineering. So a lot of these prerequisite courses, some of that knowledge is already taught in engineering. And so we would encourage you to apply to the degree program because Christina and her team does do an evaluation of the transcripts and they will tell you what prerequisites you're missing. Mm-hmm. It's quite likely you don't need all the 4 prerequisites. So it's always good to wait for the graduate college to review the application and let you know what are the open prerequisites. Now, previously, we would require these prerequisite knowledge as a college credit course on a transcript. Mm-hmm. But in our mission of access and recognizing that people are looking to upskill or change careers, we've provided a different way to prove that prerequisite knowledge. And this is what we're excited to unveil today. So if you go to that link that's provided to you on the Zoom site, there are a couple of courses that are now open for enrollment. And these are short courses, they're not for credit, they're self-paced. And the course is really light, maybe about 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how much time you have. But it gives you some introductory refresher material. It gives you a lot of practice quizzes. And then you take a final exam, online proctored. And if you get an 80% or higher, you have demonstrated understanding of that prerequisite knowledge. And so we're making this open for folks that want to be enrolled in the program and need a way to prove that prerequisite knowledge. The courses are only $59 each. You get 1 attempt on the course. And if for some reason you don't do as well in the final exam, maybe you get a 78 and you want to take it again, we will allow you for a second attempt. So if you go to the website, the 2 courses that are open are Computer Organization and Assembly Language Programming, and the second one is Operating Systems. And these are taught by our SIDSI faculty. We're very excited about offering these courses to you. We think that it is very important that you take this prerequisite course as a knowledge check before you enroll in the degree program if you need it, because our goal is we want you to be successful in this degree program. So there's an email in the course, so if you enroll and you have questions, definitely reach out to the email address provided in these courses, and our team will ensure that we help you through the prerequisite course.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to upload these completion certificates right within their application. So if you do it before you apply, you're able to upload that, and then it's available for the admissions committee to see as they evaluate your application. So make it hopefully easier if you want to, I guess, do it before you apply. If you, right? Yeah.
Right, and we want to give you plenty of time before our next cohort starts in August.
Yes.
So you can come in and hit the ground running and have all those prerequisites already completed.
Yep, and as you can see, there's more rolling out over the next couple months. So we'll have the option to do all of them very soon. So very exciting. So as I mentioned, we do have a lot of international students in our program, and we have students attending from all over the world. We do have an English proficiency requirement. So that can be demonstrated through TOEFL, IELTS, or PTE, so they can take any of those tests. There's also some additional options. So if you completed your education outside the US, but that you're now a citizen or permanent resident, you do not need to demonstrate English proficiency. Also, if you come from, your bachelor's degree was from an English-speaking country, then you don't need to demonstrate English proficiency. And then you can also complete 9 credits of graduate work in the US to demonstrate English proficiency. So those are all alternative options besides taking the actual English proficiency test.
And all the options are listed on the website that Christina has up there. So if you have more questions, we do have an enrollment team whose contact information we'll provide so you can get further clarification on the English proficiency requirement.
Yeah, this is something, there's been some positive changes. So if you were checked in a year ago, the requirement is a little bit different now. So there's some more options available. Now, if you are not a U.S. citizen, but you're living in the U.S., you will need to send a copy of your visa to our graduate admissions. So that's gograd@asu.edu. So they will need a copy of that. And if you're living outside the U.S., you do not need a visa, and a visa is not issued. But so when you're applying, you should just select JN in the application, which just means international, not coming to the U.S. And that'll make sure your application flows through the process smoothly. And then, as we discussed a little bit before, you do need to send your transcripts. So there's a few options for submitting them. If you're local, if you happen to be local, you can bring it in person to the admissions office. That's fine. They will accept that. They can bring an attestation from the Ministry of Education, and then ASU also accepts it through parchment feed. And then, as Anita mentioned, if you are still having trouble with this, then to contact the enrollment team, and they might be able to assist you with some additional options.
So as an example, I have my computer science engineering undergrad degree from India. And so I know sometimes it can be a little difficult getting official transcripts. So on our website, we provide you an option with TrueCopy that helps with attested mark sheets that will be considered as official transcripts as well. So definitely visit our FAQ site. There'll be more information on those transcripting options to provide to ASU.
So we also have a program available called the Pathway. So this has a few different purposes. So first use is for students who do not meet our GPA admissions requirement. So if your GPA is below that 3.0 requirement in your last 60 credits, then we may refer you to the Pathway. So what that allows you to do is take 3 of our MCS courses, and if you're able to meet the GPA criteria, then you can move on to the program. As long as the grades are B or better, those courses can be used toward the program later. So it's a good way to establish a higher GPA, a graduate level GPA, in order to qualify for admission. So we have quite a few students already taking advantage of this option. In fact, we have some who've completed it and are moving on to the degree program. So it's a good pathway into the program.
And as Christina said, you take 3 courses, and so when you transition to the degree, you just need another 7 courses to get your degree.
Yeah, so you still make progress. So it's a really good option. And we have a few who've decided to do this if, they might be working on prerequisite or, math requirements in order to qualify for admission. Students are still required to have the prerequisite knowledge to be successful in the grad classes. But I mean, it is an option since it's a non-degree plan. And now also, you can also use this if you want to demonstrate English proficiency, because you can demonstrate English proficiency by taking 9 credits of graduate level work. So if, for some reason you don't want to take the test, or maybe the score didn't make our criteria, we have a few who've decided to do the Pathway, take the 9 credits, and then that will waive the English proficiency requirement, as long as they meet that GPA criteria. So again, if you do go the Pathway route, you do need to have a 3.25 GPA, so a little bit higher. That's you need at least a B+ in there. And then, as we mentioned, the classes can apply directly into the MCS program as long as you get the B or better grade. So the application process, so the process itself, you can apply directly at links.asu.edu/MCS-application. So that link is on your screen. So you can go in and start your application right now. You'll submit the application, pay the application fee, and then it will roll to the review process. And you will hear from us either way. So you'll get a congratulations letter, or maybe some correspondence from our office letting you know, maybe referring you to take some of those prerequisite courses, or maybe recommending you for the Pathway. So you will hear from us either way. So we do have an early deadline of June 7th. So that would allow you to get that application in and get that evaluation and hear back from us, so you know if maybe additional steps are required. or get admitted and move on to get registered and move through like all our online onboarding and things like that, so you can get some earlier access to the degree materials. And then the final deadline for fall is July 26th. So there's still a bit of time, but we do encourage you to apply early so that we can get that evaluation and get you all settled before fall. Now, if you do have, questions that we're going to try to get to as many as we can, but if you do have questions, or maybe it's a specific question to your situation, then we do encourage you to contact our enrollment team. They are wonderful, and they'll be able to guide you through the process. So you can email them at mcsenrollment@asu.edu. You can also call and speak to them one-on-one. Their number is toll-free, and that is that's 1 for the country code, and then 844-353-7953. And we'll bring this screen back up as we move through the Q&A screen too, so that you can make sure to get these. We have a very well-built website, I think, that we try to get all the information out there, very public, with a wonderful FAQ section. And so that's links.asu.edu/MCS. And again, the link to apply is directly on your screen. So I think, Diana, we're ready to start moving into the questions.
That's great. Thank you guys so much for all that wonderful information. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start our second poll. And our second poll is just asking people, are you planning on applying to the MCS degree? And there's lots of different answers. So if you can click on the poll and let us know what you're thinking, that'd be great. And then what we'll do as you guys are finishing this poll is we'll just start some of the Q&A questions. So one of the first one is from Sukarita, and he asked, could you please help me understand if there's a GRE score required?
So we do not require the GRE at all. So you do not have to take the GRE for this program. So there is no GRE score requirement.
That's what I thought. The second question is interesting. It says, is this the MCS, is it considered a master level degree?
Yes, it is. It is a Master of Computer Science. So it is equivalent to our on-campus Master of Computer Science program. The only thing that's different is the medium of instruction.
But we don't designate that it's an online or on-ground program. Anybody who graduates from this degree sees Master of Computer Science on their diploma.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Okay, well, just so you know, we got the poll going, so I'm going to end the poll right now and continue with the questions. And so it looks like that most of the people are planning on applying, which is great. If you look at kind of the people who are yes for a future cohort all the way through people who started the application. So this is really exciting.
That's wonderful.
I'm going to share the results. That's great. Okay, so can you talk a little bit about the duration of the program? Kind of what's the fastest somebody can get through? What's the longest somebody can get through?
So let me take the longest first, because what's great about this program is it's very flexible. So our classes will be in 7.5-week sessions. So in fall and spring, there'll be 2 sessions per semester, and you'll only be required to take 1 in either session. So depending on your other commitments, work, family, travel, whatever they may be, there's a lot of flexibility in how many classes you take. So that's the great thing. So you have up to 6 years to complete the program. Hopefully it doesn't take 6 years, but you do have that long if you need it. As far as how quickly, that also depends on your commitments, because they're accelerated. So the classes move fast. But I mean, if you're doing this full time, you could probably do it a year to a year and a half, depending on how many classes you take.
So when we launched the program last fall, our initial cohort started in August of 2018, and we expect some of them to be graduating in December of 2019.
So a year and a half.
Great. There is someone who asked the question, if I have a sub 3.0 GPA in my last 60 undergrad credits, but have an above 3.0 GPA currently in the ASU MSE software engineering program, would you look at that graduate GPA above the undergraduate?
Yes, we would. So if you have done graduate coursework, that's definitely taken into consideration. Especially, I mean, if you're ASU, you are in that particular program that's also computer science related coursework. So we would look at that and encourage you to submit an application for our program. So absolutely.
Great. We have someone who is obviously looking at a lot of different programs, and so they were wondering how the ASU MCS differs from other Masters of Computer Science offered online, including the Illinois program and the Penn program. And if you guys don't know that answer, I do.
So Dinah, why don't you answer that first and then I'll add to it.
Perfect. So the Penn degree that's offered on Coursera is for people who do not have a CS or engineering background at all. So if somebody, say, has an undergraduate degree in CS, they actually cannot apply for that program. And then the Illinois program is a very, it's a very academic, rigorous program like the ASU program, but it's a little bit more theoretical and a little bit less kind of hands-on, practical and applicable. And so that's the differences that I understand. Would you like to add more to that, Anita?
Yeah, so I would say even the coursework slightly differs between the Illinois and the ASU programs. So we have some courses like blockchain and other
Right.
upcoming courses in artificial intelligence. And as Christina mentioned, we have our first concentration, but we will be rolling out future concentrations in these trending technology industrial areas as well. And the courses have a lot of applied projects, and I think that is a very important component for us as we try to engage learners in a way that they can take the concepts and apply them in their workplace.
That sounds great. Gaurav is asking about how is the course the same as the one offered on campus? And is there kind of any sort of stigma about online degrees during future interview processes?
So our courses are designed by the same faculty who are teaching our on-campus courses. So I mean, the difference, the length, our on-campus programs are 15 weeks, our online ones are 7.5 weeks, so they're accelerated, they move a little quicker. But it is the same faculty, I mean, very similar projects. So they're identical to our on-campus courses, except they're offered online. As for the stigma, as Anita mentioned, there is no indication on your transcripts or on your degree itself that the program was completed online. So I would say no, especially now. Yeah.
Great. Another question from Benil is, are there any advanced AI courses in deep learning, natural language processing, and computer vision that you guys are considering to add into the future?
So that's a great question, Benil. So if you go to our website, we have the list of courses. One of the courses that we launched is the statistical machine learning course. And that course really investigates data mining and statistical pattern recognition, and how do you support artificial intelligence through these mechanisms. So I would encourage you to visit our website. We have course descriptions up as well. And again, if you have questions on the curriculum, definitely reach out to our MCS enrollment team. They can give you detailed answers on specific questions regarding courses that you may have.
Yeah, and I would actually just like to add to that, starting in fall, we actually have courses in that area beginning to launch. So I think that's a perfect time to join the program if that's where your interest lies.
Correct. And it's a very interesting topic as well.
Yes.
Guillermo is asking, is the cost the same for international students? And if so, are there financial aid options for international students?
So the tuition is the same regardless of if you're attending it from the US or from another country. The tuition rate is the same. The only thing that's different is that initial application fee. As for financial aid, we really want to refer you to the financial aid office to explore all the different options they have available.
And one thing to note is that our online program is less than half the on-ground program.
That's true. Yes.
And so we did lower the price of the program because we understand that there are other students around the world. We wanted to make this program affordable. There are also scholarship options as well that's listed in our FAQ. So we would encourage you to visit that and reach out to the individual offices for more information.
Great. We have a very good question here from Liam, and he says, in case someone has to take the prerequisite courses, does that mean that their application would be rejected and then they would have to reapply. So that would mean, like, if somebody, say, had a deficiency on their application, would they first be rejected and then given information, or do you guys give them kind of a plan to get accepted in the future?
So often we're giving a plan, or maybe, you know, I guess more of like an agreement on if you're willing maybe to complete the prerequisite courses, that we may be able to hold your application for a limited time. We can't hold it forever. There's some limitations to that. But like if they apply by that early deadline and then they want to work on, you know, those prerequisite courses over the summer, then it's possible that application can be held and they can still be admitted for that fall cohort.
And Christina, don't you also admit students with open prerequisites?
We do. So yeah, you do not have to have all 4 completed at the time of application. So you do have to have some of them completed, but all 4 do not. So then that's also something we'll work with you where you can complete them after admission to the program.
And after you submit your degree application, you may find you don't necessarily need to prove all prerequisite knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You may already have some of that on your transcripts.
Mm-hmm.
So there are several options that the SIDSI advising team could provide you.
So as a recommendation, would you say to someone it's best to submit your application so that then you all have an opportunity to review it and then give very clear feedback?
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. Okay. We have another question from Gaurav that I've seen show up a few times is, do you have any suggestion for individuals who are moving into the CS field from other fields? And what do you kind of, you know, are there any courses that you recommend that they take or any specializations? And do you have any advice for that individual?
So we do understand that people may have graduated from undergrad with a different degree, mm-hmm. and then they may work in the IT industry. And as you're working in the industry, you may realize you have specific areas of interest. So I'll take my example. When I started working, I am very interested in data because of the trends, of decisions that are made. So for me, the courses that would be of greatest interest would be the big data courses, which is the data processing at scale, data visualization, statistical machine learning. So it really depends on your interest. And what we do is we group these courses by area of interest so that you can pick and choose what courses you want, as long as you pick one course from each of the 3 fundamental areas that Christina mentioned.
Yes.
Again, it really depends on your area of interest. The program is very diverse. We don't focus on one specific area in the computer science degree. And that's what makes it really interesting. You could pick courses from different areas and get a more of a broader overview of computer science as you're looking for that next job or next challenge in your career.
Yes. Yeah, and I just want to add, because it's a question I get a lot. The courses do not need to be taken in any specific order. So like Anita mentioned, you can very much take them according to your interests, as long as you meet those degree requirements by the end, which are very flexible.
Great. So we have a good question from Andrew, and it's about the prerequisite courses. And it said it was kind of mentioned that only some of the prereqs may be required depending on your undergraduate background or courses that you've taken. And sometimes they have the same name, sometimes they don't. Mm-hmm. What's the best process for somebody to understand if their previous academic courses actually kind of apply to these prerequisites, and that they can get a sense from you guys on, do they need to take the prereqs?
So we do have the course descriptions posted on the website, which may help a little bit, give a little overview of what the courses cover here to see if you took an equivalent course at your previous institution. Also, when you're submitting the application, there is an option to upload, course descriptions or course syllabi, which can help if you're saying, I think it was covered in this class, but the title doesn't match. You can actually upload those supplemental documents, which helps the admissions committee to say, oh, okay, they did take this equivalent class, it's just the title didn't match. So we do have, you can upload supplemental information, but I would say, if you're not sure, to apply, and then we can get that evaluation and let you know.
And that is really the best way.
Yes.
To apply to get a more formal review of your application.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And then once again, if you apply, you get a formal review of your application. If there's some deficiencies identified, people can address those, and then they don't have to complete a whole nother application. Once they complete the deficiencies, then you'll review their application again. Is that accurate?
As long as it's done within a specified time frame. So that's, I guess I'd say the application can't be held open indefinitely, but as long as it's done within a reasonable amount of time.
And would you say that's like usually a year or two, or is it?
No, it's usually about a semester.
A semester. Okay,
yeah.
Excellent. And then Liam had another really good question, and it was funny because it might be a stupid question, but it's not at all. Are the classes paid for individually? And so this, I think, is a really super important question, which is, we know what the tuition is, but it is pay as you go. So can you guys talk through how that works?
Sure. Yes. So it's based on what you enroll in. So if you only take one class in fall, you will only pay for the one class. So the $1,500. So it definitely pay as you go. If you decide to take two, then, $1,500, and it is based on the session as well. So you can even break that out over the course of the semester if you take one class each session. So you don't have to pay the full tuition up front.
Excellent. And so if I remember this correctly, there's 5 sessions per year?
Yes.
And you have to take one in the fall and you have to take one in the spring, but you don't have to take one in the summer, right? So you can take as few as 2 classes in a year, or as many as taking one per session, which is 5. And you can do 2 per session, right? If you want to do it full time.
You can. Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. Wonderful. So Kelly has a question that says, if I start with a master's degree and then later get accepted into a PhD program, will the ASU classes transfer?
So whenever transfer questions come into the mix, it's always into the accepting institution. So they very much should, though, because it's a graduate level computer science degree. Usually at the graduate level, you need a B or better to be able to transfer the courses. But let's use the ASU PhD program as an example, because if you were to do the MCS online and then apply and are accepted to our PhD program, the 30 credits from your master's program can be applied towards your PhD. So that's actually a significant amount of coursework that could be completed going into a PhD program. So it is a non-research based master's program. So the only gap might be learning how to do academic level research at the PhD level. But you could certainly move into a PhD program with this master's degree.
Right. We have a question from David that is talking about how many hours a week are students expected to study for coursework and attending classes. And I think that why don't we take that as if you're taking one course, right?
So our standard recommendation is, 15 to 20 hours per week per class is what you should plan on. So that's why usually if you're working full time, we say take one class at a time, because that's, 20 hours a week. Taking 2 would be equivalent to another full-time job. So that's kind of where that recommendation comes from. And you would hear it from me if you're admitted. So that is the standard recommendation that, of course, can vary by individual and by course.
And then are most of your students full-time employed, fully employed?
I would say the majority absolutely are.
Excellent. LaDonna has asked, is this program ABET accredited?
ABET accredited.
Yes. Yes. So so the ASU programs are ABET accredited is the simple answer to that.
Excellent. And then Ahmed has asked, are you guys considering an online PhD in computer science to be offered by ASU anytime in the future?
I would say not at this time. Our PhD is still very much of an in-person program. So I don't want to say never, but not at this time. It's not in the works.
Great. And then I have a question from somebody saying that they have a life science master's degree. They've met the calculus 1 and 2 prerequisites. Can they apply to the program?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what your undergraduate is, as long as you have the prerequisites met. Great. And then Stephen is asking about, can you clarify the grade mark average? I see undergraduate GPA, junior, senior GPA, et cetera. And I think this is really important, Anita, kind of for our international students, because I think GPA is pretty US centric.
Right. So again, let's say you've had your degree from India as an example. In India, they don't award GPAs. It's basically percentages. And so we would encourage you to just enter the number that shows up on your transcript. If it's a 70%, enter the 70%. In India, 70% is actually distinction. So we know what that translates to in the US. That does not mean a C in the US. So just put your percentage the way it is. We have an internal conversion calculator based on the country that you got your degree in. So we completely understand. So undergrad GPA would be the 4 years overall percentage, and junior senior GPA would be the last 2 years of your undergrad degree. This program does require a 4-year undergrad degree. So sometimes we get questions, if I have 3 years undergrad, can I still apply? And the answer is we would encourage you to take another year of a master's or other college courses to show 4 years of undergrad study. So Diana, I saw a couple of other questions on the prerequisites. Could I quickly answer those?
Of course, that'd be lovely.
So the prerequisites are always open. They don't start at a particular time. They're self-paced. And the prerequisite courses, they're structured in modules, and they take you progressively through concepts. And throughout the course, a concept is introduced, and then there's a knowledge check. Then there's a practice quiz. So we do make sure that we step you through the prerequisite knowledge requirements so that when you take that final exam in the prerequisite course, you're really well prepared. And we would encourage you not to go to the final exam directly. We would encourage you to take advantage of the material because the material in those prerequisite courses were very thoughtfully provided. And some of us have graduated from our programs a decade or more, and while we understand the concepts, it's always good to get a refresher before taking that exam. And this offering is really in alignment with our mission of access, because we want all of you from different backgrounds, different undergrad degrees, different work experiences to have an option at higher ed in the computer science area, if that is truly your area of interest. And I also saw a question about how is the computer science degree different from the software engineering degree?
Yeah, it's a good question.
So the online software engineering degree focuses more on the software development and the process development, and very heavy in the software engineering realm, where the computer science degree is more theoretical, and I would say more broad, with classes in artificial intelligence, the blockchain, machine learning, so more broad topics. We do have a few of the software classes, but definitely I'd say a more range of courses and definitely more theoretical.
Yeah. And software engineering also talks more about agile methodologies and change release management. So if you want to be more in the full stack engineer realm, then software engineering is not for you. But if you like to develop products and really like to ensure that the code is written in a way that can scale the architectural delivery of the product, then maybe software engineering is a better choice for you. But it really depends on what your career interest is.
Excellent. I see an attendee who wants to know, what's the maximum number of courses a student can take in one term?
So our currently, so in one semester, so I'm going to use fall 2019 as an example. We have 2 different sessions, so session A and then session B. One runs August to early October, then the other one October to December. We would recommend taking no more than 2 per session, which would be equal to 4 a semester. That's a very full load for a graduate student with this level of coursework. And again, if you're working full time, that is an even heavier load. But that would be the max as of right now.
And to start the program, it would be advisable to take 1 course in the beginning session so you can see how you can pace it, understand the requirements of the program, because again, our goal is we want you to be successful in this program.
Yeah, and David kind of asked this question again, and it's a little bit different, but he said, hey, can you take 3 classes in fall 2019 section A and then take 3 classes in fall 2019 section B? But you're kind of saying, no, you really are maxing everyone out at 2. And if someone's starting, you really want them to start with 1.
Yeah, these classes are accelerated. They're the same material as our 15-week classes on campus, so it covers a lot of material very quickly. So taking that amount of classes would not ideally not be setting them up for success, which is why that recommendation would be no more than 2. Or 1 to start, just to get a feel for the classes.
Great. Benel has a question about, is every course through Coursera, which means that they're recorded, or are they live? Or are there any live sessions?
So the lectures are all recorded so that You can go home after work, listen to the lectures, or you can decide when you want to listen to the material. But all our courses do have a live session every week, and that is an opportunity for you to ask questions from the instructor regarding the projects or if you didn't understand a topic. So we do provide those live sessions as well in the course. And it's a great way to meet other fellow colleagues as well. But if you can't attend the live session, we do record the live session that is held once a week, and we do insert that into the course so that you can see it later when you have the opportunity to listen to the entire recording.
Excellent. Well, I have looked through the questions, and it seems like we've answered all of them. A lot of them are duplicates, like people keep asking, what's the GRE score required? And we know there is no GRE score required. People also want to say, does the certificate or diploma say online on it? And we know there is no designation that it's online. Is there any other questions that you guys typically hear that you would like to kind of respond to at this point?
So definitely email us at mcsenrollment@asu.edu. We have a team of specialists that will answer your questions very promptly. The prerequisite courses are available online. The first two are already live. The second one will be rolled out in July, and the fourth one will be rolled out as well towards the end of July. So we want to make sure you have plenty of time to take those prerequisite courses, but to know which prerequisite courses to take, we encourage you to apply and get a formal review of your application. We would love to see you at ASU, and we are very excited to bring this innovative program to you. And definitely reach out to us with questions. Christina?
Yes. No, thank you. We appreciate you spending the time with us this morning. We hope we were able to answer your questions and get you the information you need. But we do look forward to seeing your application. So I guess reach out to us with any questions, but enjoy the rest of your day.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.